So what you're going to get in the fundamentals of hair design is we're going to review the 7 face shapes. So with the 7 different face shapes, you're going to find an oval, a square, a round, a triangle, the inverted triangle, the rectangle, also known as the oblong face shape, and the diamond. These 7 face shapes are all that you need to know to give the perfect consultation in the salon. And if you can't recognize one of the 7 face shapes on a client when she comes in the salon, you're never going to know how to give her the perfect look to balance her, to instill a confidence in her, so that when she walks into the room, she owns that style that you designed for her. So when we talk about designing face shapes for somebody, we're talking about trying to create what's considered the perfect face shape, and that's the oval. The idea behind creating an oval appearance on all the face shapes is by taking the oval face shape into 3 parts vertically and 3 parts horizontally. When you take the face into 3 different sections, you're able to see what's known as kind of the flaw, even though I don't consider any of them a flaw. But sometimes when a client's unhappy with a portion, say she maybe has a larger forehead and she feels like she can never wear any of the haircuts that she wants. Well, by taking her face into thirds, I know that I can say, okay, she is larger in her first third versus her second and her fourth, her second and her third. So what I'm going to need to do is create an illusion where her long forehead's not so tall. So that's what you're doing when you're trying to create the illusion of the perfect face shape, which is considered to be the oval. With the oval face shape, what you're going to be looking for to identify it is that the forehead is slightly wider than the chin, and it has really beautiful dominant cheekbones. And this face shape gradually tapers down, and she is perfectly balanced both vertically and horizontally. And then we're going to move into the round face shape. So with the round face shape, a lot of the times what I find is people get confused and they assume that it's a round face shape just because somebody has soft interior features. So don't let that confuse you. And what I mean by that is soft interior features are if somebody has a really round nose and really plump lips and really round eyes, they can still have one of the other 6 face shapes. They don't always have to be round, but our immediate reaction is that it is round based on her interior features. So make sure that you don't get confused by the interior features versus the shape of the head. And the way that you can do that, and what we're going to do with a couple of beautiful models I have today, is you're going to place a white towel around the hairline and move the distractions of the hair out of the way, and you'll be able to identify the shapes you're working with. So when you're looking for a round face shape, you're going to see that the hairline is wide as the cheekbones, and that the cheeks and the jaw are the same, and there's usually width on the opposite side of where the cheeks are. And they typically will have a shorter face too, so your goal with a round face shape is to try to create elongation so that it looks more oval. So moving into the square face shape, this is actually my face shape, so this is one that I'm really, really good at, obviously. With the square face shape, what you'll find is that your points at your temples and your points at the chin are typically the same. So when you're working with somebody who has a square face shape, even if you're going to do short hairstyles like mine, you want to make sure that there's movement so that you distract from the angles. And then 2, like with my hair, as you can see how I wear it shorter, when I do my color placement, I slightly curve the pieces around here with the dark. You want to create that dark off of those corners. And if I was to wear my hair long, I would make sure that I had depth in here too, so that I could diminish those corners. And I'd want light on top so I can elongate the face so that you don't see those square corners. So square face shape, this is actually a really common face shape I find with a lot of my clients. Moving into the triangle face shape, the triangle face shape has a small narrow forehead, strong cheekbones, wide jawline, and the eyes are usually closer set together. So when you have a client who has eyes that are closer set together, you want to create width in the temples, and you can do that by putting lighter colors in this area. And that's going to expand that, and that's going to create the look of that triangle being more balanced. And anytime you have somebody who has angles anywhere on their face, that's where you're going to want to contour. You want to diminish those areas, and you can do that with not just cosmetics, but with hair color and with hair cutting as well. And as you can see with the poster board here, we found images, and on these images, for those of you who can't see too close up, you can look these up. I found these online. They're really great references. These are just cosmetic images. And what you're getting with that is it shows you where to highlight and where to contour with your makeup. That's going to translate into the color and to the cut as well. So where you would find a contour is where you're going to put darker colors so that you can diminish those lines. And it's also where you're going to probably want to put some type of movement or layers or angles in your haircut to soften and bring those in. And so when we move into our 3 final, and I will have a beautiful model for the inverted triangle, and I have a beautiful model for the oblong as well, so I'm excited to share those with you guys here shortly. With the inverted triangle, also known as a heart-shaped face. With a heart-shaped face, you're going to find that the forehead has a wide forehead, high cheekbones, narrow jaw and chin, and often has a widow's peak. Also with this hairline, you're going to see a lot of times that they'll have little fuzzy hairs around the corners, and then their widow's peak that will phone in. And so what you want to do with this specific one is that you want to bring down the width on the forehead, so creating some depth in those corners. I really typically with an inverted triangle like to put a fringe. It can be a solid fringe, but really soft edges. You don't want to put anything square across the top. You want to make sure everything around that top third of her head has softer movements. And then as you can see, even like with my model, or the image here with the celebrity that we chose, those darker colors on the very back, but you can see all those pops of blonde. All of those blondes in here are going to create the width. With your inverted triangle, this is going to be your client that you're never going to want to talk into a partial highlight. This client is always going to need a full highlight. You want to keep those lighter pieces around that jawline so you can create expansion, which balances with the width on the top of the forehead. So if you have a client that you're doing in the salon right now and she has a heart-shaped face and you feel like you just never really fully satisfy her, maybe have a look and see if you're not putting those lighter colors in here so you're not creating that expansion. So what you've done by just giving her the partial highlight is you've actually made her look wider, and then you're bringing her in and you're making her triangle look more predominant. So with the oblong face shape, what you're going to find, for me, the oblong is very similar to like a square face shape. It's just elongated. So you want to do a lot of the same things with taking off of those corners, creating that contouring look to soften and create that movement. And then with the diamond face shape. With the diamond face shape, there's a narrow forehead and chin, wide cheekbones, and offset eyes. With a diamond face shape, you're just really looking for creating lots and lots of movement and lots of contouring, lots of darker colors around the hairline. And let me just say, when I say darker colors around the hairline, I don't mean you have to put a brown around the hairline and the rest of the hair can be blonde. You can create dimension working with colors only 2 levels different from your blonde. So if you're highlighting your model or your client in the salon and you're getting her to a level 10, you can put 8 and 9 in those areas and still get dimension and still bring those in and create that shadow effect that you're looking for to create the illusion of that oval face shape. So don't feel like you have to just immediately jump in and put those darker colors. No. Anytime you're working 1 to 2 levels darker than your overall color, you are going to get some dimension. And something else to consider too when we're looking at face shapes is not only the front arm, but also the profile. And there are 3 profiles that you're going to want to notice. You'll be noticing that there is a convex, which has the chin and the forehead retreated, and so they typically will come out just slightly, the nose does. Then you have the concave, which is the reverse, so the chin will come out a little bit, or the forehead, or both. And then with the straight, and even with the straight face shape, you will notice a little bit of curve, but typically with a straight face shape, you can identify it by knowing that the chin and the forehead are slightly behind the nose. So those are going to be your 3 profiles. And when you're working with a convex profile, you're wanting to create a lot of movement away from the face so that you can take away from the fact that it diminishes. And then when you're working with a convex, going in the opposite direction, you're wanting to bring hair towards the face so that you can fill in that void of that missing shape. And then with the straight face shape, that is just like with the oval, considered on a profile basis where you can wear pretty much anything. And then body shape, the 4 body shapes. This is always a sensitive subject for everyone. But I say let's not run away from it. We're not here to body shame anybody. We're here to create the perfect look for you so that when you walk in the room, you own that look. You know that you look and you feel good. So with the body shapes, there's apple, there's pear, there's rectangular, and there's hourglass. And so if you have somebody who has an apple-shaped body, which typically means that they're a bit wider in their midsection, I'm pear-shaped, so I'm quite heavier in my hips. So I definitely don't need to be wearing any bell-shaped haircuts because then I'm going to look like I have a pear on top of my pear. So you want to create a little bit of balance when you're looking at the body shape as well. But have somebody who is a lot more round apple-shaped. I probably don't want to put a 90-degree haircut on her and set her in rollers and leave her in a big giant circle. that's not going to create any balance for her. So just kind of considering all of those things when we're creating a look for somebody. Before we bring our model out, the last thing that I would like to say in regards to the 7 face shapes, the 3 profiles, and the 4 body shapes is that there's really only one rule that trumps all the rules, and that's if your client or your model has ultimate confidence, it doesn't matter. Don't make her feel like because she doesn't have an oval face shape that she doesn't have a perfect enough face shape. The whole purpose behind this is so that we can get those clients and those models in our chairs, and we can help instill a confidence in them so that when they walk in a room, they walk in with their head held high, regardless of their face shape, their profile, or their body shape. So the intention is not to say that they don't have everything perfect, it's just to make them feel really good in their own skin. So the first model I'm going to bring out is Monica. I'm a little partial to Monica's. I'm going to let you have that, my friend. So Monica here is my model that I was sharing with you guys before that has an oblong face shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull the hair away. And this is only something that you're going to have to do in the very beginning of assessing someone's face shape. For the rest of your career, you don't have to bring them into the salon, tie their hair back, and put a white towel around them. I can very regularly identify somebody's face shape even in a crowd full of people. You get familiar with those things. So if I come through here, and I place this towel, my towel probably should be just a pinch bigger. You guys can see that she has an elongated face, and you guys can see prominent corners and prominent corners. See? So with her face shape, we also have to consider her profile. She does have a concave face profile. So as you guys can see, she has just a slight, I mean very, very, very little, but just a slight where her chin and her nose are the same, so her chin is coming out, but she doesn't have that with her forehead. So one of the things that I would avoid hairstyle-wise on her is creating a lot of height in the crown, because if I created a lot of height in the crown here, all we're gonna do is create an expansion, see? So you wanna keep that in, and you're going to want to create softness and fullness in this section. And as you can see, just slightly messing with her hair already and moving that in there, we have broken down those corners, and we're creating the look, the softer feel. So we are going to get in here, and we're going to do a little bit of a haircut. She's not looking to really make a massive change like most beautiful models. They tend to like their long hair. I am going to just make some slight modifications around her face, because that's where I feel like she's lacking in her hairstyle. And the way that I'm going to approach her haircut is I'm going to isolate the hair from the front and the back. The way you can identify the front from the back is everybody has a breaking point in the side, okay? And you can find it by putting your hand right here. There's a knot. Everybody has one. So from where that knot is down, everything behind that is the back section, and everything in front of that is going to be your frontal section, because everything in front of that is going to take off of that break in the hair, kind of like a waterfall does, and that's going to create movement. If I try to force this hair back here behind that break in the hair, all it's going to want to do is fall back. Do you see that? I comb that forward, and then it just immediately falls back. That hair doesn't belong there, so you're fighting a losing battle. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to isolate and separate the two sections. She does have a thinner, finer hair. So you don't want to alter the length too much for this kind of hair type, because if I go in and I create too much movement in the length of her hair, I'm breaking down the density and I'm not giving her the option for multiple styles. What we're doing is just creating points, and we're forcing a haircut much faster than it has to be. So I've separated these two. How I'm going to create her look is I'm going to go from her fringe line back diagonally behind the ear. I'm going to leave out this hairline. I'm leaving out the hairline because she wears her hair back a lot. She is a model. She has beautiful pictures on her Instagram, and I see most of what they do with her is they emphasize lots of paint and work on her face, and most of her stuff, her hair's all the way back. So I need to keep this length to go on top of all these layers where I'm going to create this movement so that when I pull her hair back, she doesn't have all these pieces that fall forward. And also, it's just a really big pet peeve of mine when I see somebody with longer hair in the back and then I'm talking to them front on, and this hair is so short that it looks like she has two separate haircuts. So by doing this, I'm keeping that length, and now I'm going to take this section and I'm over directing back because I want to maintain length around her face. I'm combing straight up, and then I'm combing straight over. Okay, see, here's my length. So my length is going to become my guideline, and from here, I'm going to softly point cut, and I use a 5.5 inch shear. So I'm softly point cutting, and I'm creating texture. Now, don't want to cut myself, so I'm going to recomb when I get past that knuckle. And as you can see, I am cutting with my arm still perfectly straight. I often will see people go to create a textured haircut like that, and they'll pull in and then they'll try to cut into it like this. Okay, see what's happening here? I'm blocking my carpal tunnels, which is going to create much problems in my future. It's going to shorten my career, and I'm not looking for that. But also, by cutting directionally like that, I'm not actually cutting into the hair. When I go this direction, I'm cutting into the hair. When I go this direction, you hit the cut stairs in the hair. And then when you lay the hair down and you find those stairs, what's the first thing you do? You go for those thinning shears. And then you grab those thinning shears and you try to break up those lines, when all you have to do is switch the angle of the way that you hold your hand. So as you can see, with just that little bit, I'm able to create that look of a framing of the face without removing all of the density and the length around her face. So she's getting all of the movement that I want in here now. Now I do see as I'm looking, and this is one of the bonuses of dry cutting, is that I'm able to see everything I'm doing while I'm doing it, that I want just a little bit more here. So I'm going to take that same section I had, I'm going to divide it in half because I'm happy with the amount of movement I have back here. And I'm going to take that same triangle, and instead of over directing back to the crown, I'm going to come off where I was and come across. There's my guide. I'm just going to take a little bit more on this top section so that I have a little bit more around her face. See just that slight little modification? And as you guys can see, with my fingers, I have lots of movement, very little work to create that. And if I comb her down, or if I need her to, she needs to have a super sleek look, just an iron and some hairspray will polish that, and it looks like there's no layers in there whatsoever. I call this the invisible layer haircut, and it works with really thick, dense hair too. By rotating the hair all the way across the head, I knock off those corners, which is that bell shape that everybody gets when they pull the hair directionally up and cut it. And then when you drop it from up line, follow that weight line, and then you have a weight line on top. But if I come all the way across and around, then I create a smooth fan effect. So I want to do the exact same thing on the opposing side. How's it going out there? Does anybody have any questions? Is it making sense what I'm doing? Oh, I'm just that good. All right. Okay. Aw, thanks guys. I'm really happy that you're enjoying it. This is something I am telling you I'm so passionate about. In the salon where I work, everybody has their own room, and the girls in the rooms around me, I'm really lucky to have some newer artists. They're always saying, you give the best consultation. This chapter 7 is how I got that information to give the best consultation. And if you ever have a client that's nervous and she's just not sure about a new hairdresser or a new look, communicating with her with intelligent verbiage is going to instill a confidence in her that's going to allow you to do the job that you love to do, and that's to create looks for someone. Okay. Now all that's in there, and just like on the other side, I'm going to take that back section in half and create just a light more layer around the face. It will feel foreign to you at first, switching the angle that you are cutting, your point cutting. However, I guarantee you the extension you're going to get on your career is going to be worth it. It's absolutely going to be worth it. And look how how soft and how easy that was. I didn't have to take my cheaters. So I do want to incorporate some of the back, but I don't want to lose the density. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the comb, and you're going to come down, and there, right underneath here, do you see where that comb is leaving the head? Okay, I don't want to really bother with taking too much hair below that, because the hair below that is going to be the density. Everything above that is going to be the movement in the hair. Everything below is just the length and density. It doesn't do anything but lay there. So if I wanted to break up the lines on the bottom, I could point cut into those, but I wouldn't bother putting a whole lot of layers in there because that's not going to do anything for you anyway. So from here, and how I like to incorporate the two is if I take the same effect up here, that's where that comb is leaving, and I'm going to take a triangle. Actually, it's really more like a diamond. And remember I told you guys about that point right here on the top of the head? I'm doing that right here. That's how far back I'm going. So I'm pointing down, combing down into the point, and then back to that break, and then up. And now I have a diamond on the top of her head. So the reason for the diamond back here and not pulling all of this hair up is that there is a void in the hair, what I call the window often. And if you start to take too much of this hair here, you're going to lose that window feel, okay? So if I was to pull this part of the hair into the haircut, then I'm thinning out this area, and see how translucent that is, and see how you can see through it versus this portion back here. But when I add that hair over the top, see how much thicker that is and how much nicer that flows? So now I'm just going to create some movement in the crown, and I've been working with kind of a new technique, which is working very fast in the salon. So as you can see my diamond, bend over for him just a hair. You guys see those angles? Okay. Comb, very smooth. Now I'm going to stand to the right or left, depending on what handed you are. Good amount of tension. I'm going to pull up. Okay, there's my guideline from my front layers. And then I'm going to turn my fingers. Okay, by turning my fingers, I'm creating the same over direction on both sides. And I'm going to pull down, point cut in, make sure we got it all. And then you can see when I drop, I've created all that movement. I did clean up her length just before we started. I didn't figure you guys wanted to watch me cut length. I reckon that's probably a little bit on the boring side. So look at all that movement that we've created, but we've maintained all the density in the hair. And I'm not trying to get a lot of movement in her crown. That's why I left that long. You can do that exact same technique and get shorter lengths. Right now, you guys are kind of seeing that old, like a really modern mullety shag kind of combination happening right now, where there's lots of rocked out layers on top. That right there is how you do it. You can disconnect all of that crown layering from all of the length by taking that exact same section. So we created this entire look with just the 2 sections off the front, broken into 2, so 4, and then the one on top plus the length. That's 6 quick sections, $70 out the door, right? Simple enough. So I am going to create some movement in her hair because her hair is really thin and fine, and I want you guys to see the layers. And what I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the Chi Lava Spin and Curl. So for those of you who are not familiar with this tool, I'm about to change your lives. Mind blow. I'm working with the Chi Luxury line, the Black Seed. This is my favorite, not only because it smells amazing and it has a beautiful performance, but that is a sexy can, right? Like that just matches every salon and every bathroom. This is a sexy looking product. It smells amazing. It has the dry black seed oil in it, which I love because it's super lightweight, and I have found that I can use it on every texture. It was Cleopatra's favorite product. She used to use it for health, wellness, as well as for her hair, and we can all agree that she was magnificently beautiful. On her skin, even every day, she would put that product. Okay, so the Chi Lava Spin and Curl, it is a 1-inch barrel in the interior. It curls like a wand does, but it self-curls, so you don't have to worry about, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm working with a wand, I'm always melting my fingernails. Or if I'm using my curling iron and I'm doing a clicking technique, my elbow is up and I'm working that iron out. Well, this isn't going to extend the life of my career either. So working with the Chi Lava Spin and Curl, I have my elbow down, I've got nice blood flow. All you do is you take your section, there's a tulip shape channel on the top, and apply it in there. And then there are forward and reverse buttons. So we're going to go away from the face right now because I want to create a movement right in here. And now I didn't go all the way up. I'm staying at her ear point because I want to keep that smooth in there. I'm wanting to create some width in here so that I can create some balance for that face shape. And did you guys hear those 3 beeps? What those 3 beeps were is that there is a timer set in here. This one is set on medium to fine textured hair. You don't have to wait for the timer. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful curl? And how easy was that? So we're going to just work on the one side. So you can see the look. And then I'm going to bring out another model. So another section here. Tulip channels, right? Put the section in. Hit the button going backwards or forwards, whatever you like. It's counting down on the timer now. Let's wait. Actually, I would, because the biggest problem with curly hair is that it always creates a bell shape as it grows out, because curls grow erratically. One day one curl is going to be this long, and then the curl right beside it is going to be at a hooking point, and that hook's going to kick out, and there's going to be more length. So then you end up creating that bell shape if you cut a 90 or a 45-degree angle with your curls. So absolutely, yes, I do that same technique with curly hair. I think I would still keep some length on her because I want to create I need to create some movement underneath her jawline because she has a tall, lean neck. So I probably wouldn't cut her any shorter than her shoulders, or I would do the complete opposite and I would cut her very, very short, just remembering to focus on not creating any height in the crown. But she has a beautiful face with really balanced interior features. So I think that distracts from the elongation of her face as well. So either really short or maintaining some length at the very least around the shoulders. Does that work for you guys? Does that make sense? I really want to make sure that you guys understand and it makes sense for you, because when I tell you this really was a life-changing moment for me when I took this class. I'm really, really grateful that I got to take this class early in my career. And now we are going to get to color this beautiful model after the webinar today. And we are going to go in and break up her regrowth area and put in some fresh highlights for her. But we're also going to completely change her color, and we're going to go in and make a watercolor. We're going to utilize our Chi Shine shades. We're going to use HCG and clear in equal parts. And that's what I mean when I say watercolor. When I add clear to any of the colors, equal parts or more, I'm getting a dilution but still tone, and it gives a very, very smooth watercolor effect on the hair. Because she is constantly working with us even up here. I think you had blue hair not long back. Yeah, because she's working with us up here. I like using watercolors on models and clients that like to change their hair a lot, because you are going to get a permanent effect. There is going to be color in the hair, but it's going to make it much easier to remove, and it's going to have a nice soft progressive fade. So we're going to be doing that with her afterwards. So you guys can check out on my Instagram. It's at Monica Willems or at Farouk Systems or Chi Haircare. You guys will be able to see those results all on there, and we'll be taking some nice photos, and it will also be on the website. So you don't want to miss out on that. All right, the Chi Lava Spin and Curl. If you guys don't have one of these, I recommend it. I will tell you at first I was a little bit thinking I probably wouldn't use one in the salon because I can curl hair pretty fast, and I thought maybe it was going to slow me down. Well, then I got injured, and I was having a really hard time with my shoulder for a minute, and I decided, okay, well, client wanted some curl, let me just get this spin and curl out. and it was equally as fast as I am with a curling iron, if not faster. So don't feel like this tool is going to slow you down. It actually works really, really quick, and it is helping to maintain the integrity of my body. So as you guys can see, by creating those layers, that little bit of movement in the hair, I'm getting the rounding that I want in here, I'm getting the fullness in here, but I'm not creating any height on the crown. Just a soft, light, it's a flexible hold hairspray here in the black seed. Do you love the smell of that, Monica? Oh my God, I know, it smells so good. And even if Monica chose to wear her hair straight, I still feel like with the straight hair, and I'm a big fan of just polishing the ends with the hairspray just a little bit here so I can get a little bit of moisture, and then as that dries, run my fingers through it and it creates texture. Instead of spraying it all over the hair, it makes it where she can't wear the hair so many days in a row. And this hairspray is so lightweight that it doesn't sticky up my hands. All right, what do you guys think? A little bit of movement in the straight. You guys can see how we balanced out those corners. We've elongated, or we've narrowed down her face instead of elongating it by keeping her crown smooth. And you can see with just a little bit of movement, keeping it tight in here, but creating that movement around the jawline and the cheekbone area, we're getting that balance. All right, Monica, I thank you so much for spending the morning with me, and we're gonna get you going and get some more color. Come on out, Desiree. All right, Desiree here has a haircut that she's been growing out for a while. And she's had a few less experienced hairdressers doing her hair. But I'm going to give her a style for you guys. I'm working with two products in the Chi Luxury line, the Blow Dry Cream and the Black Seed Dry Oil. I put 2 pumps of the cream and 1 pump of the oil in my hand. And she's slightly moist, but starting to air dry. We just glazed her blonde that she had this morning. She had a little bit of regrowth, so we wanted to kind of tone that down, and we went over and glazed her with, we custom made a violet out of the Chi Chroma Shine with the white and the Viva Violet, mostly white with just a dot of that Viva Violet, so we can get a little bit of tone in her hair and kind of take out some of that brass that she had. Now, my beautiful model here has a heart-shaped face, otherwise known as the triangle. You guys can identify that by seeing how she's got that natural hairline I was telling you about, that happens a lot of the times with the triangle face shape and also with that diamond face shape, that natural hairline. But you can see how she's wider here, and then she narrows down, and then she's got a really nice soft jawline. She's got really smooth balanced interior features. So she has a shorter forehead, but she has a wide forehead, so I don't want to put a lot of fringe in the middle in here because then that's going to just shorten her face, and we want to elongate her face. So I'm going to take the fringe line that she already has in there, and we are going to just move it off to the side ever so slightly so that we can create some balance in there. And I'm going to work with my Chi Nano blow dryer. If you have not had a chance to work with this blow dryer yet, I highly recommend it. Not only is it less than £1, and let's get real, in the salon, we need lightweight tools in order to extend the life of our career. But outside of being lightweight, it also has self-cleaning technology. And I'm gonna confess something to you guys. I am the worst at cleaning my blow dryer. And if I didn't have the privilege of working with my amazing husband and he did not take care of me with all of those tasks, I would probably go through so many blow dryers. But since they relaunched the Nano and I put this one in my salon, I don't even have to worry about it. So I am just round brushing her. I'm creating a little bit of volume by going under And then I'm just rolling the brush ever so slightly. When I pull out to create sort of a soft curl feel. One of the other amazing features about this blow dryer, and probably my favorite thing, because for the longest time, I was that hairdresser who stuck her blow dryer between her legs. It used to appall my beauty school teacher, but it was such a hassle to turn it off and on and off and on. Who has time for that in the salon? With this dryer, I don't have to do that. What I really want you guys to see is that her hair is not in the most amazing of shape. We've had this discussion, so she's not mad at me. And with that luxury line, I am getting such a smooth finish. And with the ceramic technology in this blow dryer, I am getting that shine and that shutdown cuticle just with those two products on that over-processed hair. That's pretty impressive. Technical difficulties. I might have plugged that blow dryer into something that something else was plugged into. I'm sorry, my bad. All right. And we're back. What do they say? The show must go on. All right, creating that smooth. So when I'm coming in here and I'm smoothing this out, I'm running the hand forward because I want to create that movement around the face. I think it's plugged back here. All right, now we're rocking and rolling. Thanks, guys. I have the best team here at Farouk Systems. Without these guys, I would be lost. So thanks for getting up early and coming putting this on for me. All right, as you can hear, it's also a really, really quiet blow dryer. It has two attachments. It has a traditional nozzle and it has a comb attachment. So when you're working with textured hair or really long hair and you're wanting to get a faster, smooth blow dry, that comb attachment is amazing. But if you're using a blow dryer without a nozzle, you are wasting valuable ions, you are wasting valuable heat and valuable wind. When you take the nozzle off of your blow dryer, you lose the concentration. As you can see, this has got a lot of wind. It's blowing the lids off the table. When you take the nozzle off your blow dryer, you're losing the concentration of the heat, the ions, and the wind, and that is slowing down your blow dry. But worse than that, it's creating a frizzy blow dry because you're allowing the cuticle to blow in multiple directions, and nobody wants that. And when you do that, that's going to mean you have to go back in and apply extra amounts of heat with your styling tools. If you just would keep the nozzles on your blow dryer, it is a little bit foreign when you first start doing it for somebody who's never used a nozzle before. But as soon as you get used to it, you won't be able to go back. I actually left my blow dryer on a travel not long ago, a personal one where there was nobody else's, and had to use the hotel dryer and it had no nozzle. It was almost not even worth shampooing my hair. You guys can see that really cool blue light that's shining on her hair. That's the nanotechnology. That's also cleaning the environment around me with those negative ions. It's producing a cleaner quality air. And who in the salon doesn't need a cleaner quality air? just working in the front here to force her fringe over. She didn't say I could cut it, but I'm going to anyway, because I think she trusts me now.
I do.
And that fringe is going to give me a little bit of fits. And don't forget, I have prepped her hair with that Chi Luxury line with that black seed oil. And like always, everything at Farouk Systems is going to have a silk component. So that silk is going to be giving us maximum strength and shine, repairing the hair while styling the hair. We're also going to do a little bit of color work with her after the shoot, so you're going to want to log in and check out the finished results for both of our beautiful models. So as I'm getting closer to the top of the head and I want to create some volume, I come up underneath at the base. Look at the shine that you're getting from that nano dryer and from that black seed oil. Because when I tell you guys the integrity of her hair could use some improvement, I'm serious. And the fact that I'm getting this smooth of a blow dry and this beautiful of a finish just goes to speak volumes about how amazing these products are. Last section, this little piece on the crown here. Again, as I'm working in those top sections, I'm going under to create some lift, and then on top. And you do want to go under first before you go on top, because you want to remove that moisture before you start to smooth that top layer. And what this is doing is it's allowing the ceramic technology in your round brush to work like a curling iron, but at a much lower temperature. So I'm able to get all that beautiful shine and movement that I'm looking for. All right, Chi Nano blow dryer, less than a pound. And if not for nothing, the fact that it stands up on its own was enough to convince me to buy it. Okay, now I'm just going to go through and polish her ends a little bit with some black seed, and then I'm going to just make a slight modification on her fringe because it's not being friendly and getting it to go directionally. I don't want it to be a solid laying fringe. I want it to go to the side. So you guys see that weight in there, how that's laying heavy and it's not moving with me? Like, I want this shape where this is coming down like this, and I'm really happy with the way that that's laying. And as you can see, because we shaded her root just slightly, we're getting a little bit of depth so that we're taking those corners off. And we've left the light down here so that we can create that expansion, so that we can balance out that heart-shaped face. Remember, I was telling you before, when you have someone with a heart-shaped face, she's never going to be a partial highlight. She's only going to be, always going to be a full highlight, because you need that light to create that expansion. But you need small amounts of depth around the hairline so that you can diminish and bring in. So now her hair, her fringe is just a little bit too heavy, and it's been taken too far back. And I can tell you, I see it's taken too far back because when I put my comb here, chin down for me, baby, so they can see what I'm doing. So when I put my comb here, you can see where the break is here, right? But you see how far back that hairline has been taken? That's how you want to find out where to start creating your fringe. Put that comb right here and I will typically do it with a tail comb, not with my scissor, but put your tail comb right here and you can see where you should start that section because that's the hair that falls forward. This hair just creates bulk and with length will fall to the side and stay out of your way. So because we want that to grow out some, I'm going to move it to the side and then we'll debulk it in a second. And I want to just take that corner off because right now it's too much of a full fringe. So I'm coming all the way across her face and we're just going to remove that corner. See just that tiny little modification that we did, just that one little bit. And then I'm going to take my slicing scissors and I'm going to take some of the weight out so that it can start to grow. And I always leave out the very, very bottom, okay, because this is my insurance. How many times have you seen somebody who was cutting a heavy fringe on someone and they started point cutting into the fringe and then they end up with this one little hole right in the middle and then it creates this little bit of a, like a little crack split right there? You guys all know what I want to say? Yeah? So taking out the thin hairline is going to create and leave you a little bit of insurance that there's always some density there. So I'm going to take this section behind and I'm pulling it up and I'm going to bend my fingernail just slightly and then I'm just going to push into it. And I'm only opening my shears a tiny bit, but I'm pushing the weight out. And what I mean when I say I'm pushing is I am actually pushing up the hair shaft. So I'm not putting little notches and cuts. I'm actually slide cutting within the section those little bitty pieces. And so now that little heaviness was gone, and then one more right behind it in the part that doesn't belong in her fringe so she can start to grow that out. Same technique. Pull up, bend my finger, and push in. See how I've created that softness? Sorry for that on your face, my love. In the salon, I keep one blow dryer in front of me, one blow dryer behind me, so that I never have to worry about hair on someone's face. It drives me crazy. All right, a little bit more of my black seed. You guys can see I've created angles in here to remove those corners and the width, to bring in that width. We've maintained some width with the bottom by leaving that hair color just blonde in itself while she's growing out. And then just a little bit of root spray back here to give me some texture and some volume. Or instead of using a hairspray, if you have a dry shampoo, a second use for a dry shampoo besides just second day hair is that you can create texture and buildup in the hair to give you volume with your dry shampoo. See all that little extra texture. All right, what do you guys think? Do you like it? I'm so glad. Well, I had a great time with you guys today. I really encourage you to go into Chapter 7, download it, print it, memorize it, live it, love it. It changed my career. I know it's going to elevate y'all's careers and take it to the next level. My name is Monica Willems on behalf of Farouk Systems Chi Academy. Thank you so much for spending the morning with me and allowing me to share with you Chapter 7, the fundamentals of hair design. Thanks. We'll see you next time.